You are likely in a situation right now where it feels like everything is against you, like nothing is working out, nothing is going your way. You're doing everything that you know you can do. You know that you're doing right, you're living right, but for some reason, things are just not working out. You're not finding the support that you thought you were going to get, and just things are not aligning. But luckily for you, I have a solution and a strategy for you that will allow you to come out on the other side victorious and be able to move forward. My name is Maya Wilson, and I am a speaker, entrepreneur, and a life strategist for high potential and multi potential women who want to build a life that is exploratory, that is meaningful, and it allows them to release all of their potential. So much like you, I found myself in this situation. I'm the type of person who, for the most of my life, I've always excelled in things. At a very young and early age, I was a competitive gymnast. I was a medal winning competitive gymnast, and I excelled at it. So in high school, I was very good when it came to academics. I was popular, and I also did very, very well in everything. So I was popular. I managed my relationships, my academics, and even sports. I played basketball, I ran track, and I was a cheerleader. So after graduation, where I graduated number two in the class, people actually came up to me and said, I didn't even know that you were that smart. So I was very well with managing relationships along with popularity, sports, and academics. So I went off into college and I finished my undergraduate degree and I graduated one semester early. So I finished with my electrical engineering degree one semester early and I graduated in the top 5 of the entire College of Engineering. I then went on to do my master's degree in electrical engineering where I finished with a 4.0. So a few months after I graduated, I actually paid off all of my debt. So I was very good at managing my finances and I just kept building on pretty much anything that I knew that we were supposed to be successful in life. I was able to do it and almost with little effort and little ease. So I went on to work in corporate America. I started off as an engineer, and it was not until I became a project manager that I really enjoyed what I did, and I became what is known as a high performing employee. So by this time, I'm already married. I'm in corporate America. I'm a high performing employee. I'm a non traditional project manager, and everything is going well. I was sought out for a great opportunity, and that opportunity was to be the project manager for the US National Conventions in 2016. So, of course, because I love a challenge, I like doing things that are new and different, I accepted. So, I was the project manager on behalf of Cisco that delivered the convention, the 2016 Democratic National Convention for Cisco in that year. So if any of you watched the conventions, just know that the team that I was leading, we were back there running behind the scenes, making things work, making sure that everything was in place so that you all could get an effortless experience and be able to watch the conventions. So during that time, I led a team of about 14 engineers, and we were able to transform the entire city of Philadelphia into a smart city for that project. So a little while after that, I actually gave birth to my son. I was pregnant during the conventions and I gave birth to my son. And for some reason, life just was like, okay, I've done all of these things by what most people would consider I am very successful. But for some reason, I was frustrated. So here I had all these achievements, all these accolades, but I was not fulfilled. I was what I call being successfully frustrated. So I started to search and seek, how do I become successfully fulfilled? Now, I've always had a desire and a passion for wanting to be an entrepreneur, and I decided that this was going to be what I needed or what I thought I needed to help me live fulfilled. So I knew I had all these previous successes, and now I wanted to transition into I wanted to transition into entrepreneurship and be successful there as Well, so I did just that. And in December of 2018, I left my full-time six-figure corporate salary job to pursue full-time entrepreneurship. So the quickest thing that I learned was that entrepreneurship will really teach you a lot about yourself. It'll teach you about yourself. It'll teach you about your relationships. It will teach you even about faith. So I learned a lot quickly about what entrepreneurship was. I learned a lot about myself, and I learned about even things that I didn't even know existed within myself. So over a period of a couple of months, I found myself in a situation where it felt as if nothing that I was doing was working. I felt unproductive. I felt like anything and everything I tried to do was just not being successful. And so I just was questioning, like, okay, I've had all of these successes. The only thing that's changed in my life is, I took this leap into entrepreneurship, but now all of a sudden I went from being from blessed and brilliant. Now I feel confused and conflicted. So one day I was actually driving in my car and God spoke to me and said, dust off your faith. So when I first heard that, of course, naturally, I got excited because I felt, oh, like this is a word, this is a message, and all the people that are around me who don't believe that I can make it happen, I just wanted to go run, share the word with everybody else, try to tell them to dust off their faith and try to help them to be able to, move forward and be able to just realize that anything is possible to them that believe. We all know that. But when people actually do things that seem drastic to us, that are not within the traditional, we sometimes tend to debate and question, wonder whether or not it's actually going to be successful. So I actually did the work. I reeled it back in and I said, okay, if I'm going to dust off my faith, I'm going to have to do the work and be able to move forward and do everything that I know that I'm capable of doing. So back to you. Where are you in your life where you feel like maybe you could use a little dusting? Maybe the people around you don't support you. Maybe close friends, relatives, whomever just don't really see everything that you see. They don't understand why you took that faith leap. They don't understand what it is you're trying to accomplish, but you know deep down on the inside that you have so much potential that it has to be released, or otherwise you will never reach true fulfillment. You will stay in that successfully frustrated and never reach successfully fulfilled. So here is the solution. Dust off your faith. Now, when I received that, I also got this scripture that went along with it. And it's Hebrews 4:2. It says, for unto us was the gospel preached as well as unto them, but the word preached did not profit them, not being mixed with faith in them that heard it. So overall, the Hebrews chapter is really a chapter, and this section is about rest. That's one of the things that this is really about. And so it talked about the Sabbath and the eternal rest that is in God. And the first thing I had to realize was I have never really taken a rest. I've gone from a child to an adult, from high school to college to corporate America, and I've never really taken a rest. That's not really something that we talk about a lot, is resting. So a lot of people talk about busyness and, oh, I'm busy and things are so busy and all of that thing, all of those things. But however, we never really tell people to rest. So that was the first thing I learned, was like, okay, I need to rest. I need to take a break to be able to dust off that faith and be able to move forward. So then the next thing that this verse, this chapter is also about is about not receiving promises. So the lack of receiving the promise was due to unbelief. So my question to you is, what promises of yours are being blocked because of unbelief? And that could be unbelief in yourself, unbelief in others, but really it all boils down to you. What promises are you not receiving because of belief? So next, I'm just going to break down the verse a little bit because I like really getting to the meaning of scriptures. Like sometimes when we read scriptures, we don't really understand, you know, what exactly it's saying. But if you look at the Greek and the Hebrew meanings of the scripture, you can really get a better picture of what it is they're trying to say. So when they say, was the gospel preached, this is really talking about the good news. So they're saying unto us was the gospel preached, was the good news preached. So my questions to you are, what kinds of news are being shared and announced to you? So all of the information that you're receiving, it could be social media, it could be other leaders, it could be people in the faith community, it could be anywhere. The information that you're receiving, is it good news or is it simply just bad news? Is it uplifting or is it negativity? So what kind of news are you receiving and what kind of news is being announced to you? Does the news you receive build or better your faith, or does it deter your faith? So these are all questions that you really have to explore and figure out. So then the next thing is them. And in the verse, when they say them, they're talking about the Israelites. So the Israelites are symbolic of an old covenant or an old way of doing things. And then the word says, but the word preached. And word really refers to the word of God. So that's almost like a literal translation. Then preached. Preached means it's announced, it's instructed, and it's taught. Profit means benefit or to better. Being mixed means combined or to assimilate. And then lastly, faith is really faith of God, faith in, on, or toward God. So when it comes to faith, my question would be, where and in whom are you placing your faith? It could be your job, the economy, it could be your family, it could even be yourself, it could be other leaders, and quite frankly, it can be Satan. Some people actually put their trust in what he's doing and all that he has going on. But really the bottom line is our faith has to completely and totally be in God. So if we translate that verse along with these understandings, it's basically saying, unto us was the good news announced, as well as unto the old way or the old generation. But the word of God did not better them, not being combined with faith in God. So when we think about faith, faith can really be understood as a common analogy. Money in the natural realm is our currency, and faith in the spiritual realm is our currency. So we know that without faith, it is impossible to please God. And we know that in the natural, without being able to buy and support certain things, money is used to accomplish that goal. So much like money and faith, we can do several things with these things. So when it comes to, let's break down money first. When you think about money, we think about capacity. So if you think about wealth and poverty, those are two different ends of the spectrum. So when you have money, we all know money exists. We all know money is available. We all know that we can get money. So when you have a certain capacity or a certain understanding that allows you to obtain that thing, then it allows you to increase your capacity for it. So an example is, if you want to be a millionaire, you have to have the knowledge, the understanding, and the power to activate the things that would allow you to become a millionaire. And much like with faith, if you want giant slaying major faith, you have to be able to put yourself in the situations to earn, collect, and be able to build to that piece in that situation where you have that type of faith. So what can we do with our money and with our faith? We can, one, receive it, which is good. We can all receive money. We can all receive faith. We can, number two, we can use it. Again, this is good. We can use our money. We can use our faith, because naturally we know we go from faith to faith. So every time you're using your faith, you're allowing more to come in and even increase, so that the next time you can also use it again. The third thing you can do is grow your money or your faith. This is good as well, because when you understand and you learn how to invest and do different things in the natural realm with money, you can also do the same things in the spiritual realm with your faith. So investing your faith, growing your faith, and developing it. We can save. Number 4, we can save our money and our faith. And this is pretty much useless. So anytime that you have money, and yes, you can put money into a savings account, it will collect a little bit of interest. I'm not really speaking to that sense, but when you just save money, let's say you put money into a jar. You just put the money in the jar and you sit it there and you save it. That money is useless to you. And it's very similar to what we do sometimes with our faith. We have faith that we can use for a situation, but sometimes we say, this isn't big enough, it's not important enough, God is too busy, I'll just wait until I have a bigger issue and I'll use my faith. So that is definitely useless. And then lastly, number 5, you can waste money and you can also waste faith. So when you have money collecting dust or even lost somewhere, say for instance, you have money, you've had it in your house or in your possession, and then you lost it, you simply wasted it. You could have gone out and spent it, but you lost it. And then the same thing is when you suppress faith. Sometimes we suppress our faith due to different situations, and that causes you to waste your faith. So how do you dust off your faith? Number 1, you have to know who you are. One of my biggest lessons during that transition, during that period where I had to work through dusting off the faith, was learning who I am. And sometimes, especially when you may be someone who is very, very successful, you don't really understand who you are. You just think sometimes that things come naturally. I can do this, I can do that. And you don't take time to think and attribute it to it being who you are. In other words, sometimes you can trust in your abilities and you don't necessarily trust in the creator or the person that allows you to get those abilities. But when you understand who you are, you understand that you are a kingdom citizen and you can tap into every resource and availability that is available to you as a kingdom citizen, then you really know who you are. Some of those situations, those people, those things that take place, they don't bother you as much because now you know who you are. You understand certain things about how things work and you don't allow it to bother you. Number 2, how can you dust off your faith? You can know how it got dusty in the first place. So here are 5 ways that most of the time our faith can get a little dusty. The first being our mindset. So if you are not studying, and this could be studying the word, this could be studying your craft, it could be really studying anything. For the most part, we were created and designed to be people who are learning and growing and developing. So if you do not study, you're not expanding your capacity and your brain's capacity to receive, you can cause yourself to get very, very dusty. Number 2 in mindset is when you are too connected to the world. A lot of times we see people that talk about social media, we have the news, we have lots of different TV programs, we have abundance of things that can keep us busy, occupied, or whatever have you. But when you get very connected to those things, especially with the nature of a lot of it, that can bring a lot of negativity, you can cause yourself to get dusty because you're not being able to exhibit your faith. If you read a news article about something that happened, you can do absolutely nothing about the situation. So really, the best way I can give you an analogy is when you consume a lot of content that is not uplifting, that is not building you up, you are basically letting those outlets sprinkle dust and particles onto you. So as you sit there and receive, you are allowing all that dust, all that whatever to be sprinkled onto you, and you're not dusting it off, you're not releasing it, you're just sitting there receiving. So when you're too connected to the world, it can cause your faith to get dusty. The third thing on the mindset is doubt and unbelief. That's pretty simple, straightforward. When you sit there, it's almost as if unbelief is the complete opposite of faith. Number 2 on how our faith gets dusty. And this is going to be prior experiences, because many times we see things that happen, we know situations that happen, and we feel that, oh, I did this before, I've been here before, I tried this before, I did that before, I talked to that person. And we just start to say that I know how this is going to end because I've been through it before. I've been here before. I've seen this before. So our experiences allow our faith to get dusty, because this might be the prime time to use that faith, to grow that faith, but we're going off of our prior experiences and telling ourselves not to. Number 3 on how our faith gets dusty, and this is other people's experiences. And so when you hear about, or experience other people in their situation and their path, sometimes it can be easy to take that on and say that that is how it is going to happen for you. You are going to experience what they experience. If they got successful quickly, that is what you're going to get. If they failed quickly, that is what you are going to get. So any and everything in other people's experience can sometimes allow us to get that same assumption that it's going to be us. But I'm here to tell you that everybody has their own unique journey. No two people's journey or path is going to be exactly the same. So while you can look at other people for inspiration, motivation, never assume that what they've done is what is going to happen to you. The second thing on other people's experience is actually people who want to share wisdom with you, or people who try to enlighten you, but it is not really wisdom or enlightenment. Because sometimes people can see things that happen, or they can see a situation several different times, and then they form the assumption or the perception that that is what is going to be the norm. So when that person tries to share it with you as wisdom, it's dusting for your faith. It almost limits you, because this person is saying that, oh, they've seen this 10 times before, 5 times before, whatever have you. And so because they might be an expert, because they might be in authority, you naturally take that advice, whereas you can step back and say, well, okay, that's what happened, but I am going to remove myself from it. I'm not going to take that as wisdom, because that's not what I accept for myself. Number 4 on how our faith gets dusty: logic and reason. And I'm here to tell you firsthand, I am somebody, I love to think. I would rather think all day long than do anything. So I'm a firm firsthand experience that can tell you that logic and reason will cause your faith to get dusty, because the whole time that you're trying to think it through and logic it out, you need to be out faithing it out. You need to be out exercising that faith, which leads me to point number 5 of how our faith gets dusty. Faith gets dusty when we have no works. We know that faith without works is dead. So when you have faith, but you never work it, you're just causing yourself to collect dust. It's almost as if faith is a muscle. So if you have faith, you have a faith muscle, but you don't maintain it, you don't stretch it, you don't work it out, you're never growing it. You just have it, it's sitting there, but it's not doing anything, so it collects the dust. So quick review, knowing how we get dusty is number 1, through mindset. Number 2, our prior experiences. Number 3, other people's experiences. Number 4, logic and reason. And number 5, no works / we're just out of shape. So how do we dust off our faith? Number 1, know who you are. Number 2, know how you got dusty, or know how your faith got dusty. And number 3, know how to remove the dust effectively. I'm going to go back to the money, because if we have money, it's sitting in that jar, it's collecting dust. There are several different ways that you can dust the money off. You can take it to the sink, you can rinse it with water, you can just blow it off, you can take a duster and dust it. It's several different ways to remove dust. But when it comes to your faith, you need to know how to remove it effectively. And the best advice that I can give you on how to do that is to follow your senses. Or first, take a step back and check your senses. Like, what are the things that you're seeing? What are the things that you are hearing? What are the things that are in your environment? Are they building faith, or are they detracting or subtracting from your faith? So a lot of times we can see things, we can hear things, And regardless of who it is, the environment, we have to remove ourselves from it. And I know for some people that may be hard. You might say that that's my job, that's my relationship, whatever have you. But you have to know what is the effective way for you to remove that dust. First strategy, and this is really the only strategy I can give you. Beyond this, I don't know what to tell you. But number one, pray. You have to pray to understand how to remove that dust, how to remove yourself from that environment. Or if you're told to stay in the environment, how to have the grace to endure it and not allow your faith to remain dusty or get dusty in the process. So there we have it, the 3 steps in order to dust off your faith. Number 1, know who you are. Number 2, know how it got dusty. And number 3, know how to remove the dust effectively. So I'm going to scroll and see if I have any questions. And if so, I will definitely answer them. But please feel free, if you're checking in on the replay or maybe on YouTube, definitely if you have questions, drop them in the comment section. And I will do my best to answer every question. So I do not see any questions. Again, you can feel free. You are very welcome, Christina. If you have any questions, you can always add them to the video. I would do my best to answer them. Please, if you enjoyed this broadcast, if you got anything out of it, share it. Share it with someone else. Make sure that you like, follow, subscribe, and definitely turn on notifications so you'll know every time that I am going live. I look forward to connecting with you from here. Thank you much. And remember, dust off your faith. Now go out, make your life a life full of meaning, exploration, and release all of your potential. Until next time, I am Maya Wilson, and I will talk with you soon.